from 2015. The executions of 8 in Indonesia by Indonesians include 2 Australian drug runners who had reformed, Andrew Chan and Myuran Sukomaran. They were guilty as charged, they had reformed, but that is not recognized for capital offences. They died singing Amazing Grace. Had they been captured following a terrorist hit, they are likely to have been freed, but even though it is sad they were executed, they got to live useful lives following their capture. Many have blamed many regarding the outcome. Australia is rebuilding her contacts with Indonesia following the clumsy handling by the Indonesian government. Australia's ambassador has been recalled. One person protested outside the Indonesian embassy in Canberra. One Phillipina was exonerated by evidence at the 11th hour. One mentally ill man that was executed was cured shortly before the execution. Are they going to shoot me? But I only made one mistake. Some facts from the USA, thanks YL. 2012, over 14,172,384 arrests were made. Of those arrests, in 2012, 123 blacks were killed by police with a gun. In 2012, 326 whites were killed by police with a gun. In 2013, blacks committed 5,375 murders. In 2013, whites committed 4,396 murders. Whites are 63% of the population, blacks are 13%. Police killing of blacks are down 70% in the last 50 years. Out of 14,172,364 arrests and police confrontations in 2012, only 449 criminals were killed in the line of action, perhaps none of which were racially motivated. Prince William failed to have his daughter on his wedding anniversary, but Kate is doing her best and well enough to drive. In 1429, a mid-teen girl arrived to support the French at the siege of Orleans. She had a vision in her father's garden in a small village a few years previously. The visions included 3 saints, and she would describe as so beautiful she cried. They told her to support the French king. France had been involved in the 100 Years' War with England. It was on what is now French land, and the English had used scorched earth tactics. Poverty was rife. Farms burned. The population had not recovered from the Black Death plagues of the 14th century. Her father was a minor landholder. She went to an authority, a garrison commander, to give her permission to go to the royal court. He refused. A year later she returned, and with the support of 2 of the command's underlings, was allowed to proceed. A desperate and weak king wanted to believe her. He had her morality tested by an ecclesiastical court, who suggested that she was fine, but needed to be tested. So she went to the aid of a besieged at Orleans in the king's company, and roused the troops' religious fervor. She held a banner in battle, and inspired all around her. 2 years later, the weak king betrayed her to her death. But Joan of Arc had achieved what the visions had asked her. In 1770, Captain Cook came to Botany Bay, which he named. In 1945, Operation Manna began as an attempt to feed peoples in occupied Belgium by the Allies. The German forces had agreed to it. Also in 1945, Dachau concentration camp was liberated by U.S. troops. In 1946, Prime Minister of Japan, Hideki Tojo, and 28 others was indicted for war crimes. In 1946, Father Divine, leader of the International Peace Mission movement since 1907, married Edna Rose Richings, who at 21 was 49 years younger. Divine called himself God. After Divine passed in 1965, there was a fight for leadership of the movement. One leader was Reverend Jim Jones. In 1953, the first episode of Space Patrol was broadcast on TV. In 1967, one day after refusing to be drafted, Muhammad Ali was stripped of his title. In 1986, European and US spy satellites saw what was happening at Chernobyl. In 1992, following the acquittal of police who apprehended Rodney King, there were riots in Los Angeles. Over the following 3 days, 53 people were killed and hundreds of buildings were destroyed. In 2005, Syria completed her withdrawal from Lebanon, ending 29 years of occupation. 2011, Kate married William, Duke of Cambridge.